powered by Riverside FM.
Welcome to another edition of Unconventional Playbook. We've got a special guest in the house. I've been telling you for a week that he was going to make an appearance. I know he's a busy man, but he's joining us. One of the biggest Minnesota Viking fans there is, the artist known as LaTrey. For those of you who are not familiar with LaTrey, when you watch Unconventional Playbook, the theme song that you hear that we always end our show with is the artist known as LaTrey, my son, a guy that I'm so proud of and everything that he's accomplished, joining us all the way from Portland, Oregon. LaTrey, how are you doing, man?
Doing well. Thanks for having me on. It's a pleasure. Go Vikes.
Absolutely, man. Minnesota Vikings are 5-0. We got a lot to talk about. The Vikes beat the Jets, fortunate enough to beat the Jets today. But before we get into the Vikings and their great season and their great start and then the victory today, I want to talk a little bit about your journey, your music. Obviously, you grew up in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, got into the rap game, been doing some really, really good things with your rap game. And just tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us a little bit about your journey and if you got some new projects in the works, some things that you may be working on.
Yeah, I've been doing rap for, it's going on 6-7 years here. I'm just a creative person, so it's a creative outlet for me. I mostly do it as a form of expression and a way to express myself. But yeah, I've been doing it for a while. I'm glad you're sharing some of my music on here. That makes me very, very happy. In terms of new music, I got a lot of new music coming. It just all depends on when I decide to kind of drop it. I just when I'm feeling the vibe, I like to put out music. I'm not doing anything too serious here, but when I'm feeling it, I'll put it out, and I'll keep you posted on that.
Yeah, I think you have a very unique sound, and I always, when I get a chance to talk to people that are in the music business that I really like to listen to, I'm always curious about, what artists really influence them, who they listen to in their spare time. Who are some of the artists that really influenced you, and who do you listen to in your spare time when you turn the radio on?
Yeah, the one artist that really influenced me to get into rapping was an artist that goes by the name of Logic. He was the one that really got me going, kind of influenced me to, pick up the pencil and pad and buy a microphone and record in a closet and do all that kind of stuff and give me that courage to do that. But now, I'm listening to a lot of Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, some Drake, some little underground artist named JID. Anybody that's super lyrical, that puts some time and effort into the lyrics that they're writing. I appreciate that a lot. I appreciate that art, and so yeah, that's who I'm listening to right now.
You've got a lot of stuff out there, man. I listen to all your stuff, obviously.
Thank you.
If you had to pinpoint maybe 2 or 3 of your favorite songs that you've ever created, when you look at it and it's done, when it's finally a finished product and you start listening to it and you look at yourself and say, man, that was a great song. Everything feels really good about it. Give me 2 or 3 of your best songs that if you had to look back, you would say, okay, these are my favorite things that I've ever written and produced.
Yeah, I think my favorite song that I've written, and the easiest song that I've ever written, is one titled Cotton Candy Skies. It's more of a singy one than I normally do. I usually rap a lot, but that one just came really easy to me. It was actually about my girlfriend at the time, meeting her for the first time and the feelings around that. So I think it's a big one. I love that song. And then in terms of another song, probably Caught One is a big one for me. Like I said, I listen to a lot of, lyrical rap. I like to rap a lot. And so I appreciate when I can put together a full, completed, rap song that's full of awesome lyrics. And that's one of them for me. So I think Caught One and Cotton Candy Skies. But I think some of my best work is yet to be released and yet to be dropped. So I'm looking forward to putting that out there and sharing that with people that listen.
2 great songs. I'm always at the edge of my seat waiting for you to drop stuff. because I really
Thank
enjoy
you.
your music, obviously. I get a lot of inquiries from people in UP Nation. You know, they're sending me comments, sending me emails about how to get the music, where they can listen to you. How can people that maybe some people may be out there that have not heard your stuff yet, that may be new to UP Nation in terms of subscribers that really haven't heard you, but if someone really wanted to dive into your music, where can they hear you?
You can find me on any streaming platform, Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, all that good stuff. That's where you can find me. A lot of my earlier stuff you can find it on SoundCloud at LaTrey, LATRE. But everything for the past couple of years is now on like Spotify, Apple Music, and that's at LaTrey as well, LATRE. And then my social media, my Instagram is at LaTrey Arts, and that's where I post some of my drawings and along with my music and all that good stuff. So that's how you can find me.
Awesome. This is Unconventional Playbook. Please hit that like and subscribe button. We are on with the artist known as LaTrey, coming in with us from Portland, Oregon. Let's talk about these Minnesota Vikings, man. Could you have imagined in your wildest dreams? I mean, you knew what the season was like. We had gotten rid of Kirk Cousins. We have gotten rid of Danielle Hunter. We signed Sam Darnold, and I know you and I had various conversations where we were like, man, why are they signing Sam Darnold? Because he had a lot of baggage coming in with this team. Could you have imagined in your wildest dream that the Minnesota Vikings would be 5-0?
I'll be honest with you, no, not at all. I had a lot of doubts surrounding Sam Darnold, and I didn't really think much of him coming in. But he's really proved something this year so far. 5-0, obviously that's a great start. These earlier couple of games, he's been balling out. Looks confident, making the throws when he needs to make the throws. And so I'm happy with what I'm seeing so far. I think this past game against the Jets is kind of like a comeback to earth moment where he wasn't having a crazy great game, but he stuck in there, and I think that's what I'm looking for mostly. I mean, not every game's gonna be perfect, and I'm happy with what I'm seeing so far.
Man, but what do you think the secret sauce is for the Minnesota Vikings right now? I mean, obviously you can hang your hat on the defense, Brian Flores, and then our guy Jets. We can't call him JJ anymore because we got JJ McCarthy, but Jets is obviously a big part of it. But it seems to me it's more than just those two things. I mean, it's like the chemistry on this team is absolutely fantastic. The culture. My partner on our live shows, Patrick Buchanan, said, maybe this team was just galvanized by the death of Kyrie Jackson, and his team is kind of bonding together. If you had to put your finger on something where the Vikings are, being, really, really successful this year, and you can't say the defense, what are some other things that you think is going really, really well with this team?
I think you said it with the culture. I think it starts there. I think KOC has done a great job, establishing positivity in the locker room, a brotherhood. Clearly, everybody's fighting for something bigger than themselves.
Yep.
But I think that along with that, we have one of the best players in the world, but one of the most humble players in the world. I think with all that talent he has, he could absolutely be, the cockiest player on the planet. But he comes in with, the mentality of winning first, and it's not all about him all the time. But he still goes out there and balls, and I think a lot of combination of stuff is leading to the success right now. But I think ultimately it's that culture in the locker room that we've worked on for the past 3 or 4 years, and so I think it's just all kind of coming to fruition now, and the culture is just great right now.
Yeah, you talk about the culture. When I knew the culture was really, really good on this team is when they were going through all the contract negotiations with Justin Jefferson. And we've seen how that has gone around the league with, CeeDee Lamb for the Dallas Cowboys, Brandon Ayuk for the San Francisco 49ers. When Justin Jefferson was going through his contract negotiations with the Minnesota Vikings, it was a quiet and calm negotiations. There was no back and forth with his agent and the front office of the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, quietly and securely, they really got that done. And it spoke to the culture of the team. And
Yep.
when stuff like that happens, you know your culture is good, because obviously it hasn't been like that everywhere.
No. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially when you have that level of talent, and you're playing a dangerous game like football. I know a lot of these players feel like they deserve the bag, and rightfully so. And so they get a little frustrated when it doesn't happen the way they want it to happen, or with the amount they want it to happen with. And I'm glad we got that deal done. I was a little worried for a second. It took a while, but that whole time while it wasn't happening for him, like you said, he was being quiet. But even when he was speaking on it, he just said, "Yeah, I know it's going to happen when the time is right," and kept his focus on football, kept his focus on the team, and that just shows how big he is and how great he truly is.
Yeah, Justin Jefferson seems to be someone that's really, really comfortable in his own skin. I don't know if you had an opportunity to watch the documentary on Netflix, Receiver, and
Yeah.
a lot of people made a big deal of the type of home that he lives in. I mean, he basically lives in a duplex,
Yeah.
but yet he's this famous guy, the best wide receiver in the league, and he's making all this money, especially now signing this new contract. And you mentioned the word humble, not that he can't live in a place like that, but the fact that he decided to live in a place like that, and he said to the press, well, I didn't come from money, so I'm not really used to that. I just want to go play football, and I want to come home and chill with my friends and family. That speaks to all that humbleness that you were just talking about.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, I definitely noticed that prior to the season starting, and I think just that goes to show how focused he is on the game of football and winning and the team and success in that regard, and not necessarily about the money and the flash. I mean, he comes off flashy on the field because he can ball out like that. So he has every right to, wear the chains and the diamond teeth and all that.
Yeah.
But he backs it up with his play, and at the end of the day, he's a humble guy. He's got a good head on his shoulders, and so yeah, I'm very happy with him. Glad we got him on our team. That's for sure.
I think we found out something today about our team, and it gave us a little glimpse of possibly where we need to really improve as a team. Aaron Jones went out hurt.
Yeah.
And it seemed to me when he went out, the offense really started to stall. I really believe that we went pass happy, a little bit, where if you look at our 4 previous games, there was that balance with the running game and the passing game. That was a pretty good marriage. And today, once Aaron Jones went out, we were relying on Ty Chandler a little bit, but he wasn't very effective. And then I thought, we got a little bit pass happy. Do you think Aaron Jones is the engine that really makes this offense go? Because it can be easily lost with Sam Darnold doing his thing, that, you really don't appreciate the value of someone like Aaron Jones. And I thought it was really apparent that when he went out, like, everything just seemed to stop and stall a little bit.
Yeah. I think establishing the run game and having a run game is the engine to any offense, truly. And Aaron Jones is one of the best in the league at what he does. So yeah, we were definitely missing him once he left. I think Ty Chandler is great. He's just not that guy. At least I haven't seen yet. To be handling the rock all the time at every possession. And so I think we became a little bit one dimensional there. Got pass happy. Sam Darnold wasn't clicking in that second half. And the Jets defense is a solid one who can sit back in coverage and cover our good wide receivers and deal with the results of Ty Chandler running it, or trying to throw deep and deflections. So that's kind of how that game script ended up. I'm hoping by the looks of it doesn't look too serious with Aaron Jones. We'll see what comes out of it in the week or so, but I think the run game is just super important to any offense, and because we didn't have him in there, we were lacking a little bit.
Yeah, not to make this a Justin Jefferson podcast, but today really gives you an insight on how tough he is to deal with, along with Jordan Addison, all the multiple pass interference calls, all the grabbing, not letting our wide receivers get in and out of their route. I know growing up you play wide receiver, so you know how hard it is, some of these defenders trying to grab onto you and hold you. does that say a lot about our wide receivers? And in terms of our passing game, we're still playing without TJ Hawkinson. But
Yeah.
just seeing that today just shows you how tough we are to deal with down the field with our wide receivers.
Yeah, I mean, it's a scary matchup going against Justin Jefferson. It's a scary job going up against number 3 too. And so I think it's awesome to see him go out there and ball, and he doesn't need to score the touchdowns. He doesn't even get the catches. Just his presence going down the field is scary enough to get defenders' little hands happy, a little too hands on, and get that flag. It was pretty cool to watch. I do think the league is just protecting the wide receivers. I think some of those flags were, could go 50-50 both ways. I don't know. But it's Justin Jefferson, and I think at the end of the day, you got to throw him the ball. And even when he doesn't catch it, there's a likely chance he's going to get a flag for it, just because he's creating so much distance, creating so much space with the routes that he runs, how fast he is, how quick he is, the quick twitch. So yeah, he's a threat, both catching the ball and not catching the ball. So
yeah. One thing that really concerned me today, just sitting back watching the game, is obviously I think you hit the nail dead on the head when you talk about the Jets defense. They're a pretty stout defense. They're not trash. They're top 5 defense in the league. So I knew that it was going to be a daunting task for the Minnesota Vikings to accumulate and put up a lot of points today. But the one thing that really concerned me is that I didn't think the Minnesota Vikings did a great job of adjusting to what the Jets were doing. Like, I thought everything was downfield related, play action passes, looking for the home run ball, going, 10, 15 yards down the field. And it was like they got rid of their short passing game. Like the screens disappeared, the quick slants disappeared. And I think when you have a quarterback that's cold or struggling like Sam Darnold was, I was hoping that KOC would start to inject some of that into his play calling. And it was just non-existent. I mean, did you see that while you watched the game?
Yeah, I agree. I think the script was to stay aggressive, and I think that's what they were trying to do. That's why you saw the play action passes, the deep throws. But like you said, he was cold. It wasn't working, and I would like to see some more screens. I think our screen guy is Aaron Jones, and I think that could be a reason why we didn't see as many. But I do think we have plenty of players out there that we can be throwing, bubble screens to, if not, get Ty Chandler into the screen game, whatever we need to do to kind of get Sam Darnold warmed up, get the team moving, get some first downs. I mean, we had a stretch where it was like 5 drives without a first down. And so that just kills your offense. That kills the vibe. And so I would like to see more. But I do think why we didn't see it was because, Aaron Jones went down. And we were still trying to stay so aggressive, which I appreciate. But at the same time, it wasn't working today. And that's just the reality of it.
Yeah. The one thing with this team that I'm just really happy about, that I think is going to travel well throughout the season, obviously, I think you said it earlier, you play 17 games in the season. You're not going to play great or perfect every game.
Right.
Our defense seems to be traveling well. I mean, that is a mobile defense. And when I get a chance to study the defense and I look at the all 22, because I love strategy and stuff growing up being a coach, I like to see, even if it's a different sport, how defensive coordinators and coaches approach game planning. And the one thing that I look at when I look at the Minnesota Vikings defense in the all 22 is, it is something that you really can't scout. It's a guessing game all game. And I really wanted to see how Aaron Rodgers played against it, because you're talking about one of the most decorated quarterbacks in the league. He's probably going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer whenever he's done playing. So I really wanted to see, could Aaron Rodgers decipher what the Vikings were doing at the line of scrimmage? And he threw 3 interceptions today.
He did.
So this stuff that B-Flow is doing with the defense travels well. I don't think it's something you can scout. I just think you have to guess right. And if you enter the game and guess right the majority of the game, you're probably going to have some success against them. But I think it's extremely hard when he's bringing 8 or 9 guys up to the line of scrimmage and you don't know who's coming after you from play to play.
Right. Yep. That makes a huge deal. Keeps the quarterbacks guessing. I was interested in that too, to see, Aaron Rodgers, obviously a skilled player, but a very, very, very smart player. And I was interested to see how he's going to handle our defense. And like you said, he threw 3 picks. So that means we were confusing him. We were switching some things up on him. I think at times he did get a handle of what was going on. He was throwing a lot of short passes. I think that's the key. But I think at the same time, I love how we are limiting the big explosive plays as a
Yes.
defense. I think that is super key. Just like on the offensive side, keeping momentum going, that's a way to keep momentum going for the defensive side, is stopping those explosive plays. And so keeping everything in front of you, I think that's what we do a great job at. And like you said, we're traveling well, we're playing well away from home against tough quarterbacks. I mean, we haven't had a cakewalk of a schedule so far. I mean, we're playing
No,
some quarterbacks, and
no.
we're confusing a lot of them. So yeah, I'm happy with what I'm seeing. We got some dogs on the defensive end flying around, making plays. You can tell that they want to be the best in the league, and right now they are, in my opinion, the number one defense in the league.
Yeah, this is scary, man. This is
Yep.
scary because I think all the experts and the analysts had us going 0-8 first 8 games of the season.
Yep.
I know myself and my partner Patrick Buchanan, we went through the schedule game by game before the season started, and we kind of picked what we thought the end of the year record was going to be like. I picked the Vikings to go 7-10. I believe Patrick picked the Vikings to go 10-7. The great thing about this team, though, that's really surprising everybody, and the narrative have been out there for the last 2 weeks. This may be the best free agent class that the Minnesota Vikings have ever brought in terms of their franchise. I mean, everybody that they brought in to a certain extent has made an impact, whether it's on the defense or the offensive end. You know, you had Sam Darnold that was just labeled, NFC Offensive Player of the Month. And again, you look at a guy that is nondescript and flew under the radar that the Miami Dolphins didn't want anymore in Andrew Van Ginkel, who had another pick six today.
Got
And
more
then you can
touchdowns
just
than
go
some
around the
offensive
various
players.
guys, Stephon Gilmore and Shaq Griffin and, Kennard, and just all of these guys are just making an impact. Do you think
Yep.
this is the best free agent class that the Minnesota Vikings has ever brought in?
Yeah, you could absolutely make that argument. I think everybody's plan is balling out, and I think that's a testament to the culture that we've established as Vikings. And I think people coming in seeing just how professional that our team is ran, and how everybody wants to win for each other, not just themselves, or pad their stats. I think that makes a big difference, and that allows for people coming in that are not familiar with the system to feel comfortable right away as they step in as a Viking. And I think it makes a difference down the road. I think we're seeing the results right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put you on the hot seat for a minute
Uh-oh.
because one of the things that's been pretty spirited in UP Nation the last couple of weeks in terms of our community board and comments from various videos that we post. I put out there what happens if Sam Darnold, if he continues to be named NFC Offensive Player of the Month, and he continues to trend upward. And like I said, he doesn't have to play perfect every game, but let's just say he takes the Vikings to the playoffs and has a little bit of a playoff run. What do you do with Sam Darnold, man? Do you bring him back on a multi-year contract? Do you franchise tag him? Or do you go with JJ next year? He is starting to put the Vikings in a big-time predicament. It's
Yeah.
a good predicament to have,
Sure.
but I'm just wondering if he continues to play this way, what are the Vikings going to do? What's your opinion on that?
It's an interesting question. I think the simple answer is if he balls out, takes us to the playoffs, has a little bit of a playoff run, we absolutely bring him back. I don't think there's any reason why we don't. I think with JJ coming off an injury, and still having very little experience playing in the league, I don't think it makes sense to just, drop off something that's worked for
Yeah.
something that might work or, might be better. We don't know yet. We believe it'll be better, but we don't know yet. So I think if he does go on that run and he keeps playing the way he's playing, I think we bring him back. I don't know how long we bring him back for,
Yeah.
because eventually I do think, the future is JJ. And I think Sam Darnold knows that. So, bringing him back on a short-term contract, something like that, maybe even lights the fire under his butt to get us to the end, which is a Super Bowl. So, it all depends on how he's playing and how it goes, how the rest of the year goes. But I don't see why we don't bring him back if he's balling out and brings us to the playoffs and we're winning. And yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing, and I think if the Minnesota Vikings salary cap situation wasn't what it will be next year, I
Yeah.
think it would be a no-brainer to bring him back. But you're
Yeah.
looking at the Minnesota Vikings, they're going to be close to $80 million under the cap next year, which will put them probably in the top 3 in the NFL in terms of how much money they're going to have to spend to go out and improve this team. And I
Yeah.
think the enticing thing about JJ McCarthy is, from what we know, short sample size, is that he's a pretty decent quarterback,
Yeah.
and he has that rookie contract. If you bring Sam Darnold back, you're going to have to sign him for 2 or 3 years at minimum, if he balls out, about 30 to $35 million. That's going to eat up some of that salary cap money, so you won't be able to spend it really elsewhere. And I think that's a scary thought, because you look at the Minnesota Vikings as constructed right now with Sam Darnold. If they were to let Sam Darnold go and then bring in JJ McCarthy, you're right. We don't know what type of quarterback really JJ McCarthy is going to be, because I think he's somewhat unproven. But when you look at everybody else in terms of the offensive skill set players, the players on defense, to be able to have $80 million to be able to improve both sides of the ball, really excluding the quarterback position, but to be able to improve both sides of the ball, man, that is really enticing as a general manager. So I think if Sam Darnold goes, I think it's going to be for that reason, or that he really didn't finish the season strong.
Yeah, I agree. It's a lot of money that we can allocate other places. And you're right. I think, like we said, JJ is the future. So I mean, if that's the direction they want to go, then that I would be happy with that direction too. I don't know. It all depends on how Sam Darnold plays, because at the end of the day, the goal is to win. And I don't know, like we said, JJ hasn't proven himself yet in terms of
Yeah.
being able to get those wins and play in those clutch moments and those hard times, face those hard adversity, those changes. But we'll see. I guess. I hope that JJ comes in and just balls out. We don't have to think about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I've been a Vikings fan too long to know that things can change real fast. Things don't always work out the way that we envision them to work out. And so just erring on the side of caution, and, if something's not broke, why fix it type deal is kind of how I'm thinking. So I don't know. We'll just have to see how the rest of the year plays out.
Yeah, you just beat me to my next question. I was going to hit you with that. Where do you think this ends? Obviously, we've got a lot of season left.
Yeah.
We've played 5 games. We've got 12 more games to go in the regular season. Then there's the playoffs, and then possibly the Super Bowl. You and I, as Viking fans and Ohio State fans, or whatever team we root for, we've suffered through a lot of disappointments.
Yeah.
Do you think this could be the year? I mean, everything is, in terms of the foundation of the team, the culture of the team, the chemistry of the team, nobody really giving us a chance at the start of the season, flying underneath the radar, having a good defense, and arguably, in my opinion, the best coaching staff in the league. Where do you think this ends up for the Minnesota Vikings if you had to call it right now today?
Okay. Am I being honest? My honest opinion?
Yes.
Okay. Well, of course, I think we can go super far. I definitely think we're a playoff team. Absolutely. All depends on kind of where we land in that playoff bracket, on how far we go. Do I think it's the year? I would err on the side of no, just because that's just what I'm used to.
Yep.
But I think we're a damn good football team, and I think we're showing it. And so if we can keep that going, the sky's the limit. Sky's the limit.
Yeah, I think a lot of Minnesota Viking fans, a lot of UP Nation are right there with you. I just try, to send the message out to UP Nation and anybody that's a Minnesota Vikings fan, rather than think down the road like that. Just enjoy the ride, man. This is fun. Like, I thought this was going to be a season where we struggled. We're waiting for the 2025 season. Credit to Sam Darnold, credit to B-Flow and KOC, and then Kwesi for bringing in all these great players, man. This has been a fun thing to watch. Before you get off here with us, LaTrey, I want to talk to you about, because I know you're a big basketball fan too.
Yeah.
Obviously, Big Cat from
Oh,
the Minnesota Timberwolves
oh
got
man.
traded. He's gone to
Yeah.
the New York Knicks.
Yeah.
We got some pieces back. What do you think about the whole trade? You know, everybody I talked to is kind of mixed. You know, they
Yeah.
thought that the Minnesota Timberwolves gave up on their run, you know, a team that did pretty well last year. And then you got some people that think the New York Knicks won the trade. What do you think about the whole trade with the Minnesota Timberwolves?
Yeah. I'm on the end of thinking that the Timberwolves are doing a little too much with that trade. I don't know. I'm a Cat fan personally. I'm not a huge Rudy Gobert fan, so to know that's who we're going to be leaning on now, it's tough. Um, I don't. I just need to see it play out. I don't really fully understand the trade personally. I'm kind of let down. I'm sad to see him go. I thought we made a great run, and I thought we were, gaining some momentum as a team with the squad that we had in place. I'm loving the rookies that we've got coming in. They seem to be balling out in summer league and things like that.
Yep.
I still think we're a very competitive team. I think we're going to be a good team this year. I'm just sad to see Cat go. That's tough for me. That's tough.
Yeah, Big Cat, you know, I'm not on the side of the fence where, you know, people thought Big Cat wasn't quality or wasn't a value. I know there's a lot of people out there like that. They thought he was a soft 7-footer that shot a lot of threes. You know,
Yeah.
he didn't have that inside presence that most 7-footers have. And, you know, I think when I comment on that, I think people get me wrong. Like feel like Big Cat was untradeable. I don't think that Big Cat was an untradeable commodity. But I think the one thing that you don't mess with, especially when you have a history of climbing and scraping and trying to become a legitimate team, that you shouldn't mess with chemistry too quick. And I
Nope.
think the team that the Minnesota Timberwolves had,
Yep.
dude, just had a lot of chemistry
Yeah.
together. And I think you had to run that back somewhat, at least run it back to the trade deadline. And then if
Yep.
things weren't working and if Big Cat wasn't producing and you could get some assets for him, I would be all for the trade. But I think you just messed up some pieces and now they have to find a way for this team because it's not just a talent thing. I've coached talented teams before
Yeah.
that just didn't have a lot of chemistry.
No, it's a chemistry thing.
Yeah, it's definitely a chemistry thing. So now this team that's constructed now has to go into the season and find a way to build that chemistry back together again. You agree with that?
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. And I hope, Julius Randle can come in and ball out and he just fits well. But I've seen a lot of big time trades go down and the assumption that a star player is going to come in and hoop right away just doesn't always pan out that way. And
Yeah.
like you said, we had great chemistry. I don't know why we messed with it. You know, it's just kind of disappointing to see him go. Really, it really is. I loved how he could stretch the floor. I don't think he was as soft as people made him out to be.
No.
Talking about Cat,
Yep.
I think he could finish around the rack quite easily, quite fine. Hung in the league well under the basket. But I think, yeah, ultimately he just really stretched the floor for us, hit some big shots, especially in the playoffs. I know that last series he wasn't the best, but that happens too. And I don't know. I just don't know what Julius Randle's going to add for us, other than I guess just more of a physical presence down there and somebody that can get those boards and be that kind of Draymond Green-esque vibe for us, and just a defensive presence. But we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, chemistry is a real thing. People underestimate that. I look at it.
Yeah.
You're out there in Portland. You guys, gave up Damian Lillard last year. He went to the Milwaukee Bucks, and everybody thought that was just going to be a great thing in Milwaukee. Chemistry was off.
Yep.
And that move didn't make them a better team.
Perfect
Now,
example.
they've had an opportunity to build that chemistry during the offseason. Obviously, they'll have a year under their belt playing together, so it should look a little bit better
Yep.
this year. But just making these trades, I think people just underestimate the
Yeah.
chemistry part of it. So hopefully that won't set the Minnesota Timberwolves back too far.
Yeah.
LaTrey, thanks for joining us today, man. We've been wanting to have you on. Our fans
Absolutely.
have been wanting to have you on. Hopefully we can have you on in the future as this Minnesota Viking thing keeps going. I just really, really appreciate your time and joining UP Nation today.
Thank you so much for having me on. Skull Vikes, 17-0. We're on our way. Let's get it.
I hope we get to 17-0, but I hear you, man. I'm just going to enjoy this
Enjoy
ride.
the ride. Yep.
Yeah, please hit that like and subscribe button. We have visited with LaTrey on Unconventional Playbook. This is going to be weird to say, but at the end of every show, I always say, LaTrey, take us home. So I'm going to say it again today. We're going to make sure to see you when we see you. LaTrey, take us home, man.
I don't know who I am. Can I say I'm a man? Am I losing my mind? Am I wasting my time? Do I know who I am?